Hi everyone, I'm Tanya JANCA and I'm a computer security nerd. And my friend Francesco wrote me today and he was asking me if I could talk to one of his mentees about how to get into security and give advice on finding a mentor and how mentoring works. And then I spoke at Microsoft Ignite today, which was the tour, which was absolutely incredible. It was amazing. And it was gigantic. And the question came up over and over again, like, how do I get into security? I'm really interested in INFOSEC. And I want all of you to work in INFOSEC. We don't have enough people to fill the jobs, and the more different points of view we have, basically the more people we have, the better job we can do, the more different opinions we have, the better we can do. I wrote a blog post about it that I'm going to link about it, but I just wanted to give you a couple ideas if you're interested in getting to INFOSEC, things that you could do. So first of all, I want you to know we all want you here. I know that when you see job posts, they're mostly just like super senior positions, and that can be extremely frustrating. It frustrates me too. But the way I got into it is I had a professional mentor. I found someone, or someone found me basically, who thought I had a lot of potential and helped me. And since then, I'm incredibly lucky to have had all sorts of people take me under their wing and teach me things. And so in return, I have tried to give that back. So I started a thing, hashtag MM for Mentoring Mondays, and I'm hoping that on Mondays people could do the hashtag MM and help find mentors for find people to mentor, people looking for a mentor. So if you do MM, say perhaps like on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever you want, I'm a software developer and I really want to learn about how to hack a web app. I'm looking for a mentor. Or I have lots of experience doing incident response and I'm opening to mentor someone, so message me back if that interests you. And then I'm hoping people can take the scary part, the first step of talking. So my first professional mentor reached out to me, which was pretty amazing. But my second professional mentor, I would say I almost tricked him into it, Adrian. So I started an entire mentoring program for my OWASP chapter in Ottawa, basically to help everyone, but also because I wanted to. I didn't know how I could have the guts to ask someone to mentor me, if that makes sense. And we talked, and then he said yes, and it was great. And he pushed me to start doing public speaking, and seems to be working out pretty well. So when you have a mentor, awesome things about a mentor is that they're a person who has your back. My first professional mentor went way out on a limb for me. So he hired me for my first pen test, and then he got me my second full-time job in security. And they were going to hire him. He was in super demand, and he actually told them basically he wouldn't come unless they hired me, which is it's so huge. And I try to advocate for the people that I mentor as well. So when a conference asks me to speak, if I can't go, I'll say, you know what if you book Franziska Bueller? She's like a brilliant genius and she's a great speaker and she has made tons of amazing cool things she could show you. And maybe you haven't heard of her, but once you see her, you'll understand that she's incredible. Right? And so I try to advocate for her just like my mentors advocate for me. And I feel like there's a lot of senior people in INFOSEC who have so much amazing knowledge that they would like to share. So another thing about a mentor is this person is like a vault. You should be able to tell them things and then have them not repeat it. They should have your best interests at heart. And that's really important. If someone is going to perhaps not always give you honest advice, that's not someone you want to be your mentor. Like, this is a person that you have to be able to trust, and so you have to build that relationship together. And so one more thing I want to say about mentoring before I cut this off, because it's late and I have to get ready for my demo tomorrow morning. If you are a mentee, so you're being mentored, the number one thing that I can say to you is that you need to actually do what your mentor says. So feedback I've gotten from my mentors about why they like mentoring me is because my first professional mentor was like, go read the Shell Coder's Handbook. And then I did. And I worked through all the problems until I don't know, like chapter 9 where my brain was bleeding. And I was like, do you have another book? And I was like, I don't think I like writing shellcode. And then he's like, read the web app hacker's handbook. And then he's like, make an exploit out of this. And he just like kept giving me things, and I would just attack them with such vigor. You know, read this book, watch this video, and I would just eat all of it up. Go to this meetup, come here with me, like let's work on this. And every single thing that he said, I would just soak it up. And I've seen people where they're like, I want a mentor. But what they want is that scene in The Matrix where Keanu like does this thing and then he goes, I know Kung Fu. And so some people, they're like, I really want this thing, but they don't actually really want it. Like someone wrote me and he's like, I want to be a hacker. I'm really excited. And so I spent like 2 hours writing out this email to him about all the things that, you know, if you want to switch from what you're currently doing, because I had worked with him, I'm like, these are all the things you could do. And then he wrote back and was like, oh, I thought that I could just like press a button on a fancy program and then I could just charge $10,000 a day. Like, that sounds like too much work. I didn't even read your whole email. And so like people don't want to invest in someone like that, right? So if you want a mentor, the number one thing you want to do is if they're like, oh, like go read this article. Like I was talking to someone super awesome today and I was looking for advice and he said, oh, you know, I did this talk and guess what I'm doing as soon as I stop recording this, I'm going to go watch his talk and take notes and I'm going to learn from it, right? Because like I value this person enough to ask their advice. So I'm going to run off and follow it. And so if you want to be successful in INFOSEC, I would say the number one thing is that like, if you are so lucky to find someone to mentor you, you want to like, I mean, if they're like, go jump off that bridge, you probably don't want to. But if they're suggesting you read a book or that you like go to a meetup or try something, like, unless there's a really good reason not to, I would suggest doing it. Like, I've never been like, oh, I totally regret reading that book. Like, or, oh, I never learned anything from that. Like, it's so rare. And maybe it isn't necessarily perfectly on topic for what you were hoping for, but every single thing that you do while you're moving into INFOSEC, because there's so many different subfields within our field, like each thing that I learned ended up bringing me closer to the exact thing that I wanted to do. And it took a while to figure out like where my passions are. And I still am figuring out super cool, new, amazing things. Like I'm really, really interested in learning about the security of serverless and functions. Like that's what we call it in Azure. And like, I want to learn about, you know, how do I do multi-cloud? How do I secure that? There's so many things on my mind about things I really want to know. And I wouldn't have found these things if I hadn't, you know, like trusted in the people who are suggesting new topics to me. Anyway, I hope that you found this helpful, Francisco. And I hope really that helps anyone. I am TANYA JANCA. I'm a giant security nerd, and I want you to know we want you in INFOSEC, even if sometimes maybe it doesn't feel like it when you see all the blog or job posts looking for a senior person. If you can find a mentor, they can help advocate for you and help you figure it out. And yeah, so please trust me. We definitely want you in our field. We would love to have more people. And that's it. Okay, so I think mentoring's good. The end. Bye.